What is up, guys? Your boy Zach, aka That Bio Dude, coming at you live with the coolest, most informative, and funniest AP biology videos on the interweb. And today we'll be talking about animal organization and homeostasis. Alright, so this chapter we will discuss homeostasis after a look at the body's organization. Just as in other complex animals, each organ system of the human body contains a particular set of organs. For example, nervous system, which is your nerves and brain. Circulatory system is the heart and blood vessels. And we'll begin this video by examining several of the major tissue types. Four main tissue groups that we're going to hit on today are epithelial tissue, covers body surface, lines body cavities, and forms glands. Connective tissue binds and supports parts. Muscular tissue moves the body and its parts. And nervous tissue receives stimuli and transmits nerve impulses. First things first, tissue, which is composed of specialized cells of the same type that perform a common function in the body. First one is epithelial tissue. Consists of tightly packed cells that form a continuous layer, covers surfaces and lines body cavities. Usually it has a protective function, but it can also carry out secretion, absorption, excretion, or filtration. Epithelial cells are exposed to the environment on one side but have a basement membrane on the other. This basement membrane anchors the epithelial to the extracellular matrix, and we can break down epithelial tissue even further. We could break down to simple, stratified, and granular. Simple meaning only one single layer of cells. Stratified meaning layers of cells piled on top of each other. And then granular is when the epithelial secretes a product. But wait, we can break down even further into squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. Squamous meaning flattened cells. An example where you can find this is your blood vessels. Cuboidal, cube-shaped. You can find this in your kidneys. And columnar, which is rectangle-shaped. You can find your digestive tract, and this helps with absorption. So here's a picture I found that can help show these different types of epithelium. Simple squamous right here. It's a single layer of flattened cells. Simple cuboidal, which is a single layer of cube-shaped cells. And then simple columnar, which is a single layer of those rectangle-shaped cells. And then down on the bottom left here was stratified squamous, so same thing up top except it's just layers piled on top of each other, which you can see right in there. And then same thing, stratified cuboidal, cube-shaped cells piled on top of each other. Connective tissue is the most abundant and widely distributed tissue in complex animals. The structure of it is specialized cells, a ground substance, and protein fibers. There's three types of these fibers: collagen, which is flexible; reticular, which is thin and supporting; and elastic, which contains elastin, which makes it elastic. Connective tissue can be broken down into three main units: fibrous, supportive, and fluid connective tissues. There's three types of fibrous connective tissue, and inside of these connective tissues are cells that are called fibroblasts, and they're located separately. So first one is loose fibrous connective tissue on the left here, and this has space between its components, occurs beneath skin and most epithelial layers, functions, support, and binds organs. So you can kind of see here you have an elastic fiber right here, and then a collagen fiber coming across right there, and there's that space in between them, and then you can find a fibroblast right there. Adipose tissue, aka fat, is cells that are filled with fat, occurs beneath skin, around the heart and other organs. This functions in insulation and stores fat. You can see a nucleus right in there. And then dense fibrous connective tissue has collagenous fibers that are closely packed. It's in the dermis of skin, tendons, and ligaments, function and support. These are very important. You can be found in your ACL, stuff like that, stuff that's vital to being an athlete. And then supportive connective tissue and cartilage, the cells lie in small chambers called lacunae, separated by a matrix that is solid yet flexible. Three types of this also. There's hyaline cartilage, most common type, contains only fine collagen fibers, end of the bones in your nose. Elastic cartilage, more elastic fibers, which makes it more flexible, found in your outer ear. And then fibrocartilage, matrix containing strong collagen fibers, pads between your vertebrae is where you can find those. Obviously, it's in your back. And then fluid connective tissue. Blood is actually a tissue, which I thought was interesting, and this consists of formed elements, and plasma is a fluid connective tissue found in the blood vessels. The internal environment of the body consists of blood and tissue fluid, and then blood is broken down to RBC, which is red blood cells, WBC, which is white blood cells, platelets, and plasma. Muscular tissue is composed of cells called muscle fibers. You can break down into three types: Skeletal, voluntary, helps move body parts. Smooth, involuntary, found in organs, helps contract and move food along. And then, of course, cardiac, which is also involuntary, and this makes up the walls of the heart. And then last but not least, nervous tissue, which contains nerve cells called neurons, which is a specialized cell. And then neuroglia, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that takes up more than half the brain. They support and nourish the neuron. That's important for the nervous tissue. Then you can see here on the neuron, picture of a neuron, you have the dendrites, which are right here, which point out what those perceive it. Bring into the cell body is where you can find the nucleus, and then it heads down the axon, which through the nodes of Ranvier. Then myelin sheath, which is insulating fatty layer, it speeds up transmission, helps it get all the way up to the Schwann cells, which also help. They make the myelin, of course, and then the axon terminals, which are the transmitters that help make it function in your body. And then organs and organ systems. Organs are two or more types of tissue working together. Organ system is multiple organs working together for one primary function. Skin is the largest organ in your body, and skin can be broken down into three parts. Epidermis, made of stratified squamous epithelium, which we talked about earlier, contains melanocytes, produce melanin, which this gives you your skin color. Dermis is a region of dense fibrous tissue under the epidermis, contains glands, arteries, veins, and elastic fibers, all things we talked about earlier. And then there's a subcutaneous layer, which some people say is part of the skin, some say it's not, but it's underneath the dermis and it's composed of adipose. And then I'll touch on the organ systems. There's going to be more videos that hit on these more in depth. But some of the human systems are the nervous system and the endocrine system. These coordinate body activities. Skeletal system, muscular system, digestive system are in charge of acquiring materials and energy and getting food. Skeletal system, muscular system work together to maintain your body shape, help you function. The respiratory system is in charge of exchanging gases. Cardiovascular system is important transporting materials throughout your body. Urinary system, excreting wastes. Lymphatic system and immune system help protect your body from disease. And then, of course, the reproductive system helps produce offspring. And the last thing I'll touch on is homeostasis. And the main thing in homeostasis is negative and positive feedback. Negative feedback is the primary homeostatic mechanism that keeps a variable such as blood glucose level close to a particular value set point. And then positive feedback, a mechanism that brings about an ever greater change in direction. For example, when a female gives birth. And then on this picture here, you can see that middle bar says normal body temperature. And so when it's above normal, it's going to have stimulus. And that's going to bring to a sensor. And this is going to send data to a control center. The control center is going to realize, okay, we need to fix something. And this is sent to the skin. The blood vessels dilate, sweat glands secrete to help lower your body temperature. And then the negative feedback returns it to be normal temperature. And then looking at the other way, your body's driving below normal, so let's go down to stimulus first, into the sensor. Control center realizes that you're too cold, and this direct response to stimulus, the effect is blood vessels constrict, sweat glands are inactive to help keep you warm, and this is negative feedback, returning to normal. And that's going to wrap up video 1. Hope you guys enjoyed it.